Excuse me. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachah Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule well. And also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so I wanted to get into this lesson. I'm actually giving my 2 cents, if you will, on a show that I watched yesterday or listened to yesterday. As I was driving to camp. It was this here. This is from the elder Yashawamba. His channel is Remnant Saved 144, and it was it's a beautiful show. I started it over from the beginning here, but I did watch a lot of it on my way up to the city for camp, and as I was watching it, I started thinking of scriptures in my mind. So I said, you know what? When I have the opportunity to sit down, I'm gonna speak on a couple of the scriptures that I thought of. But again, this is a beautiful show. I always watch this brother's shows because he gets really thorough in breaking down the scripture and the topic, and I always enjoy learning from the brother. And so this lesson gave a lot of context to some of the other scriptures that we know and understand. And he might have touched on some of these scriptures. I just didn't watch the whole video, so he might have touched on some of these things. But I again, once you what happens to me, I don't know if this happens to everybody, but what happens to me when I'm listening to a show and I start thinking about scriptures, I'll pause the video and really I watch most of the videos in my car when I'm driving, or I listen to most of the videos. Actually, you can't really watch them while you're driving, but I'll pause it and then I'll be in the car driving and I'll be teaching in certain ways, and that's what happened to me yesterday. So I didn't watch all of it. I'm not gonna say I watched all of it, like I said. So he might have touched on some of these things, but I'm definitely gonna watch it again. Because again, these shows are good. We always joke around about Jake having a short attention span and not watching these more long form videos, but you know, you can get a lot out of them. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I be watching like I be watching the whole thing. Sometimes life gets in the way and you can't really sit down and get into them. But again, these long form shows like this are powerful and they're good for learning, and that's what happened to me. I learned from watching this show, and so I wanted to share what I was thinking about. So so in the show, as the title says, it says Melchizedek, the priesthood, is far superior to the Levitical Aaron priesthood, and it's very true, right? Because as we know, the Levitical priesthood of Aaron was fashioned after the things that we see in the heavens. As a matter of fact, I will go to this verse, Hebrews 8. This is Hebrews 8, and I'll start at 3. It says, for every high priest is ordained to offer gifts and sacrifices, wherefore it is of necessity that this man have somewhat also to offer, right? It says, for if he were on earth, he should not be a priest, seeing that there are priests that offer gifts according to the law, who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things. Now, when you think of that, right? What is your shadow? When you have a shadow, right? It is a casting of your own self, right? So the things that are here on earth then are a cast, right? Or a similitude of the things that are in the heavens, right? Let's look this up. Let's look an example up, obviously. It says example, pattern, right? Ensample, right? A sign suggestive of anything, delineation of a thing, representation, figure, copy, right? An example for imitation, right? Of the thing to be imitated, right? For a warning of a thing to be shunned, right? So already we getting a little bit of a understanding here, right? So that was for I think that was example that I picked up first. Yep, example. All right, now let's look up shadow. All right, shadow, a shade caused by the interception of light, an image cast by an object, and representing the form of that object, right? A sketch, outline, I never heard this word before. Adumbration, adumbration. I don't know. I never seen this word before. Let me look this up. The act of providing vague advance indications, right? Representing beforehand. Wow. Foreshadowing, right? Prefiguration, type of anticipation, prediction, provision, right? So these things that we have on earth, right, are an example of the things that are to come, right? Or a figure of the things that are to come, which are the things that we see in the heavens, right? Or that in this case that Moses saw in the heavens, right? So let's continue. It says, "Who serve unto the example and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was admonished of the Most High when he was about to make the tabernacle. For see, saith he, that thou make all things according to the pattern showed to thee in the mount," right? So everything that was established here on earth in regards to the Levitical priesthood, the priesthood of Aaron, right? Excuse me, was an example or a shadow of the things that were in the heavens, right? And this priesthood of Melchizedek, as the brother gets into, right, is us going back to that heavenly figure, right? And so now the things that are on earth go away, and we now follow the things as they are ordained in heaven. This is why the scriptures say this. And again, these are the scriptures that were coming to my mind, and like I said, I'm sure he touched on these things, but these are the scriptures that came into my mind. It's it just escaped me. I think I wanted to say Matthew 6, but right. Oh yes, that's exactly that. Exactly that. It came back to me. Let me see. Right here. So I'll start at 8 here. It says Matthew 6 and 8. It says, "Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of, before ye ask him. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come," right? So when the kingdom comes here, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven, right? So the things that are here on earth are just figures of things that are formed and fashioned in the heavens, right? And when the kingdom comes, we will operate the kingdom here on earth as it is operated in heaven, right? And that's what the order of Melchizedek is about. Us going back to the things that are fashioned in the heavens, right? And so you have people, right? And we know who they are, who harp on the earthly things that were given to us, right? And who latch on to those earthly things. But they don't understand that those earthly things are going to be done away with, right? Those earthly things were for a temporary time, right? And we are going to go back to the way they are in the heavens, right? This is what is it? 2 Corinthians right here. I'm going to start at 17 here. The 2 Corinthians 4 and 17, it says, "For our light affliction," all right, which is but for a moment, "worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory," right? "While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal," right? So the things that we see here, right, the things that were fashioned on the earth, we saw the temple, right? We saw the tablets, we saw the Ark of the Covenant, right? We saw these things, right? And what are they? They're temporal. Matter of fact, let's do this. I have the Apocrypha open, but I'm going to open a different one here. I want to show you something, right? Because in Matthew 6, it says, let's go to Matthew 6 real quick back here. I'm going to go to 19. I have that written here. This says Matthew 6:19. It says, "Lay not up yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal." And this happened to our temple, right? So let's go here. Let's go to First Maccabees, right? 1, and I'll start at about 30. All right. So this is First Maccabees 1 and 30. It says, "And spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. But the women and children took they captive, and possessed the cattle. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid up there. And so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, right? And an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary, and defiled it, right? So when you go to Matthew 6, and it says, "Lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt." What is moth and rust an indicator of? Something that is decaying, right? Something that is being done away. Something that can um, end at some point, right? And where thieves break through and steal, right? But what does it say in response? "But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through and steal." So I've always read this scripture, right? And I read it in the spirit to in the thought that we're laying, this is the spiritual bank account, right? This that we're laying up our treasures for, right? But it has a little deeper meaning, right? And I understand that now through that brother's lesson, which is we're going back to the things that are fashioned in heaven, right? And nothing can deteriorate the things in the heavens, right? And so the things on earth, moth and rust corrupt them, right? But we're going back to the heavenly things, the heavenly ways of operation, okay? And those old temporal things are going to be done away with, right? And so I started thinking about some more things. I said, okay, well then the reason then for us to have this I guess this path or this journey into the heavenly things, the scriptures speak about it, which is it was a lesson, right? Or as the scripture says, an example, right? So or like the scriptures say. Matter of fact, let's go to that one. I think it's in Galatians, but let's do this. Yep, yep, yep. Boom. Let's go up a little bit. This is Galatians 3 and 21. It says, is the law then against the promises of the Most High? The Most High forbid. For if there had been a law given which could have given life, verily righteousness should have been by the law. But the scripture have concluded all under sin, that the promise by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach might give to them that believe, right? But before faith came, we were kept under the law, right? Shut up until faith, which should afterwards be revealed. Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster, right, to bring us to Hamashiach, that we might be justified by faith, right? So the same brother, along with the elder Yashawamba, broke this down one day, and it was eye opening for me. It said they said the law of being a schoolmaster is just like when you learning how to play basketball, right? You set up these cones on the court, right? And you do your work, right? Or as you're learning the game within those cones, right? But when you're in the game, you don't use those cones, but the cones prepare you for the game, right? And when you're in the game, you can now play more freely, right? Because you were inside those cones and you were restricted in those cones to train yourself, right? And I always tell people this, right? The scriptures say this: train up a child in the way that they should go. Matter of fact, let's go to that real quick. Let me open up another one of these. Let's do this. Train child. Boy, let's do it like that. Yep. It's Proverbs 22:6. It says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it, right? And that's what the scripture means with the schoolmaster, right? We are a child as a nation, right? And we're being trained up so that when we become old, all right, or when the Lord Yahweh Shai comes, right, we won't depart from those ways, right? Some take that to mean that now that the Lord Yahweh Shai is here, that those ways go away. But no, because you've been trained so deeply in those ways, you now know how to operate when you're in the game, so to say, right? And I always tell people this because I argued with my mother-in-law recently. Well, we weren't arguing. We was just having a conversation. And she said, I believe that kids should be able to be kids. And I disagree with that. Your childhood is the shortest part of your life. So why would you take the shortest part of your life and the most malleable part of your life, right, to just enjoy and be frivolous? Because what's going to happen when you get old? You're going to want to enjoy and be frivolous with your time, right? With your day, with the way you behave yourself, right? But if you spend that childhood being trained how to be disciplined, when the adulthood comes, there's a level of freedom there because you were trained all of that time, so you know how to behave yourself in certain circumstances, in certain situations. And that's what this was for us, right? This hell that we've gone through, this pain that we've gone through, this anguish that we've gone through, um, has been a training session, right? For that when the city, right, which I'm going to get to in a second, is given to us, we know how to operate in that city, which is the kingdom of heaven, right? So let's go here. This is Second Ezra's, Second Ezra's 7, and I want to start at 7. I'll start at 6. This is Second Ezra 7 and 6. It says, there is also another thing, right? A city is builded and set upon a broad field and is full of all good things, right? That city, of course, being the kingdom of heaven, right? The entrance thereof is narrow and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could be, but there could but one man go there at once. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? And I said, it is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion, right? Because for their sakes I made the world, right? He made this world for us, right? And when Adam, right, the first priest, if you will, transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done, right? Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but a few and evil, full of perils and very painful. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit, right? If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, then they can never, Salakia, receive those that are laid up for them, right? So this is why we took this path, so that the broad things, or we went through this training, so to say, so that the broad things can be received, right? And so this is why, we the or let me say this way, that lesson gave some of these scriptures some more context, man. The heavenly things that were going to be revealed to us, or the priesthood of Melchizedek, is far better than the one that we lived under, right? Because what did the one that we lived under bring? It brought death, right? It brought bondage. What is that? I think I have it pulled up. Yeah. This is Galatians 4:21. It says, "Tell me, ye that desire to be under the law, do ye not hear the law? For it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise, which things are an allegory. For these are the two covenants," right? "The one from Mount Sinai, which gendereth bondage," right? Which is Hagar, right? So that first one put us in bondage, right? But bondage in a way of those cones, right? We couldn't go outside of those cones. We had to do all our work within those cones, learning the game, right? "For Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all," right? So after after that work is done in the cones, now we have freedom. We have a free flowing game. Your crossover is better, right? Your two dribble pull up is better because you've worked in those cones, so you know how to flow within the game. Okay. I don't think I read all of these, right? Yeah. I just want to read this other one here too, Matthew 25, because in Matthew 25 it speaks about the talents being given, right? But the talents were given, right? And what did they have to do? They had to go work those talents, right? But what happened after they worked those talents? So let me go here. This is I'm gonna jump right to it. This is Matthew 25:20. It says, "And so um, he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, right? Saying, Lord, thou deliveredest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more," right? Verse 21. His Lord said unto him, right? "Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over few things. I will make thee ruler over many things," right? "Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord," right? So this is more context, right? So he gave us few things, right? Or narrow entrance, right? And now we're going to be made ruler over many things, right? So we had to go through this little training period, so to say, right? Where there's anguish and pain, right? When you go through practice and you run in them suicides, that's difficult to do, right? But when you get in the game, now you're in shape. You can breathe better. You can now you're thinking in the game because now you're not tired because you've gone through all of that training, right? These things were in preparation to the things to come, the things that are eternal. Matter of fact, I wanted to go back to that. I wanted to read this eternal. It's in both verses, but let me just go to this one. Eternal, right? What does it say? Everlasting, right? The world began, right? Since the world began, without beginning and end, which is what? Melchizedek, right? That which always has been and always will be, without beginning, without end, never to cease, right? Everlasting. That's what we're moving to. That's what we're going to, right? Let me go to the other one, see if it says the same thing in the other verse, right? It says these things that are on earth, what are they? They're temporal, right? But the things which are not seen, right? The things that come are eternal. I think it's the same word, but yep, same word. Aeon, aeonios, right? Eternal, everlasting, without beginning and end, right? And that is who? Melchizedek. Didn't it say he didn't have a? What was that? What is that? I have it up here. No, it don't. Let's go to it. Hebrews 7, I think it is. Hebrews 7. Hebrews 7 and 1, it says, "For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High Power, who met Abraham, returning from the slaughter of the kings, and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after that also king of Salem, which is king of peace," right? "Without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the Son of the Most High, abideth a priest continually," right? So this priesthood is temporal and it ends, right? But the order of Melchizedek is eternal. So that priesthood is going to last forever. And no one can come in and taint it and tarnish it and destroy it. It's going to be forever. All right? And then what are the other nations going to do? They're going to bring their forces unto us, right? They're going to worship us, right? That's what we're going back to. Okay? So that's it. Hopefully that was edifying. I want to give all praises as always to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Honor and salutations to the elect. And with that I say Shalom.